So in this video, I will go over how to bring in a flat roof. Now, we're actually going to use a floor assembly for the purposes of this. Just to kind of give you a very quick overview on flat roofs. Technically, they're not flat. They have a pitch. They typically pitch towards the middle of the roof, where you have some roof drains that then collect water and bring it down and out towards whatever sort of sewer system the property has. The reason that we're doing this with a flat or with a floor assembly is, because as you saw with the pitch roof, there's maybe some added complexity to setting up the slopes, which are not really necessary in this case. So how do we go about doing this? Same thing as before, we go to level 3. We do need to make some adjustments here so we can see what's going on. If you go to view range, make sure that it's unlimited so you can see all the way to the ground. We probably will not need to change these values, so we can just say apply and okay. So now I can see columns and all the walls below and sidewalks and everything. Okay, so for our roof assembly, as I said, we're going to use a floor assembly for this. So I'm going to click on floor and I'm going to use one of these 16-inch joist assemblies that we started previously. So perhaps this one right here, the topping slab, I'm going to edit the type and I'm going to duplicate it. And this one, we're going to just call it roof. Okay, so you just have to remember if you need to go back and make more, that you're going to be looking for this in the floor assemblies, not the roof assemblies. And okay, so, and also, let's rename this. We'll make these a little smaller. The roof will be taking slightly less load, so that means we don't need to use quite as deep of truss. Okay, so now we're going to go to the structure. We have plywood, we have this joist, the open web joist. We're going to drop it down to 14 inches. And we're not going to use concrete on top of the roof. Instead, we are going to have a layer of rigid insulation. So I don't know if it matters whether it's part of the structure or not. Let's go ahead and insert a layer. And let's see if we can raise it up above here. So this will be, we'll just call it a finish layer. By category, we're going to type in the search bar here, rigid insulation, and let's see what options we have. Fiberboard. I'll just go with this generic rigid insulation, which is fine for this. And we're going to give it a thickness of 12 inches. And I'm going to add another layer, and we'll call this finish 1. I'm not sure what between finish 1 and finish 2 is. And we will put a membrane. So with our pitched roof, we had shingles. With this one, we're going to use something called a membrane. And I'm going to say okay, and we'll just give it some minimal thickness and say okay. Layer 2 function fibers cannot ascend from the core boundary to the finish. So let's do this. Let's drop this down. Let's make this part of the structure and see if that resolves the problem. Yes, it did. Okay, let me just check a couple of things here. Plywood. Okay. And I'm going to say okay. Apply and open. All right, now we are ready to draw in this roof. So I'm basically going to try to align it with the edge of the floor below and this wall over here. As with my pitched roof, this is a very simple roof. I will start by drawing from these grid lines. And it's just going to cover the whole thing here. And then I will start to move it. Actually, I'm going to try the align tool. So click on align. It's going to ask me what I want as a reference. I'll pick this outer edge. So that should align with the wall below. And then I'm going to click on this and I'm going to move it. Move, pick a point 4 inches down. Move 4 inches up. And I'll go over to the far side here. And let's do this align tool here. Oops. Let's do line, pick this one first, and then that one. There we go. Now, as for the height, I'm going to click on the checkbox here and take a look at it. Let's just say yes, attach. Okay, and this is getting 3D. Okay, so this is that membrane. It does not look very pretty in 3D view, but this is not something that you would see anywhere from the site, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we have that in there, and it looks like everything is okay with it. Now, we will be making some adjustments, but that's a good place to start. And I will add a roof to this part of the building as well. And for this part of the structure, I need to add the roof at level 2. So I'm going to go to level 2. And again, I'm going to go to the view range and change it so I can see what's below. Okay, can leave it with this visual style, or it could be changed to, let's say, a shaded one or hidden or whatever. Let's see here. Let's go to architecture, to floor, wood truss, joist 14 inches. And now what I'm going to do is make a couple of rectangles. So I will start, since I have a reference there, looking there, and here, just mark. We're going to say attached. So if there's any gap between things, attached targets, this is. So that's part of it. And, this whole business of the edge showing as wood is something that we can work on later. One thing that I was planning on is having this little courtyard that would be open to the sky, so we don't need anything there. But next, what I'm going to do is put the roof over this reception area, and I'm going to create that cover for the cars. So I'm going back to level 2. And I will go to floor. Make another rectangle. Let's see if it will. Let's see, what will this be? I'm going to stretch it all the way over to the other side of the roadway. The check mark. And we'll try to attach it and just walk through these errors. Okay, so now I have this roof, but at the moment there's no structure to support it. So what I'm going to do is add some columns underneath it, like I had done previously over here for these exterior walkways. So I will do that from level 1. Okay, so I added some columns and I actually made them bigger. The defaults were 6 and 12-inch diameters. This one is an 8-inch diameter, just because it's a pretty lengthy span from here to here, and hey, this roof assembly might need to be deeper. It might actually include some steel, but we won't get into that at the moment. So that's basically the process for bringing in these 3D or these flat roofs, and you can make your choice and add what you need to add. And again, don't keep in mind that these materials, this EPDM material on the roof is something that would not be visible. So don't worry about what that looks like.